We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this independent National College Football YouTube's Rebel Outpost with a donation. Help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that dollar sign where you make a comment, and I will get to super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. It is Wednesday. It is August 12th, and it's a beautiful day to talk college football. We are 17 days away. 17 days away from college football beginning in week 0, and we're about 13 days, 14 days away from making our first picks against the spread in week 0. And that is going to be a great time to introduce to you all the real Greg the Gold. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun today. I want to thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. There's been a lot of chatter behind the curtain. There's been a lot of chatter behind the curtain on the SEC, there's going to be some strategic leaks. I do not want to use the phrase that was given to me because we do what we can to we do everything we can and more to protect the people that are able to give us some information. So we're going to call it strategic leaks. There's going to be some whispers out there, articles. What is the SEC planning now? And this is going in both directions at the same time. One is, and I know a lot of people don't believe this, but the Big Ten and the SEC truly wanted to get a bill done in Congress that gave them some antitrust protections. They supported at the last moment this PCSA bill. Now, some would say that was a strategic delay support to make sure the bill did not make it through. But the bill could have made it through. It could have made it through the Senate. But anyways, some would say in the chatter, or they are saying in the chatter, that the SEC might be, they're definitely going to be talking about self-governance here in the next month. To possibly push for this grand Hail Mary miracle where the PSA gets passed and it's everything that the Southeastern Conference wanted in the bill. But there's another reason why they're going to having strategic leaks. It's because they're actually having informal discussions on how they're going to self-govern. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the SEC and the Big Ten and probably the Big 12 and the ACC, they cannot afford to go another year like this. We talked about Greg Sankey and the green salsa, verde salsa, mild salsa, the hot salsa, and the nuke salsa. And he's probably going to dip his chip in the verde, and that's probably what's going to happen. So there's been this chatter. We've been busy with other stories going on. And plus, I've been doing all my prediction shows and talking college football, chopping it up with my PATC family. And we're going to do more of that in this live show. Because we always got to talk college football at peak around the corner. What's happening on the field. Or what we think is going to happen on the field. But we do cover all this other stuff that's really important. I didn't know I was going to go with this SEC will self-govern. But I had a couple of people in the PATC community send me a YouTube clip of Mr. Paul Finebaum on 680 the Fan, 93.7 FM. And he talked about the future of college football and the SEC. And I said in the description box, under the title of this live show, Paul Finebaum is saying what the chatter is saying. There is a consensus out there on what the SEC will do. And Paul Finebaum he said it straight out. SEC will self-govern. And that is why it's the title of our show. And that is why I decided, you know what, we haven't had Silo Mountain as part of this program for over a month. So Silo Mountain is back in. And we're going to talk about it here on our live show. So welcome in, everybody. I appreciate it. Start us off with the $2 holler. Christopher Hooter. Yes, the SEC and the Big Ten did want a bill. That is true. Thank you for the $2 holler. Thank you for your generosity, Christopher Hooter. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for starting us off. You know how this goes. After the monologue, the phone lines will open. The great callers of PATC. When you call in, the floor is completely yours. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Super chats, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. The other comments I will pick and choose depending on how relative it is to the subject we're talking about or how interesting it is, the creative writing aspect of it all. Let's get into it. Let's go through the roll call real quick. Whoops. We got T-Duck is in the house. We got the Florida man is here. Charlie Atwood, Doug Steinhauser, Jan Uzi, Donnie McNerney. Donnie, I don't know how long you can stick around, but you might want to stick around. Donnie McNerney, you might want to stick around for our top 25 preseason ranking. Bruce Harris, you might want to stick around. For the opposite reason. Bruce Harris, I am going to give you every reason in the world to light me up. D5 Terps is in the house. Jay Chapman is here. Caleb Ramirez, Stephen Timothy Vitt, Sun Devil Ager, Mick Stevens, Jimmy Austin, Grateful Trojan, Mama Duck Clemson Tiger, Ryan Brooks is in the house. Go Rams is here. Rock and Rant is in the house. BYU football is here. Mohr Simmons, AFKA, the Irishman, Ryan Esmus Talks is in the house. You know what, Esmus Talks? I forgot to book your hold on a second. Let's get that done right now. I did not get that in. Hold on. I completely forgot. I apologize, sir. I absolutely apologize. You said Wisconsin under 6 wins, loses to Rutgers. I hope I got that right. Something like that. All right. Esmus Talks, if I got it wrong, you please correct me. Please correct me on that. I do apologize. I did not get that in. All right. It is booked, but if I need to correct that, let me know. Kenneth Maynard is in the house. RT is here. Mountaineer Memes. Village Idiot is here. Rodney Richboard, go Tigers. David Kreitzer, Run with Scissors. Deep Waters, Miami U, Movie Time Blues. Greg, did you get my DM? Today? I don't remember. Was it today? I get a lot of DMs and I don't. I'm going to have to check. What was it about? I get a lot of DMs, so I'm not able to always know what I did and it did not do. Saw an article today saying Minnesota could win 10 games. Oh, not Minnesota, Mike Norvell. They're not going to fire him. They're not going to fire Mike Norvell if he wins 10 games. Mositito, I don't know how it's pronounced. Esmetox, let me pronounce it how I pronounce it. He knows I am the Minnesota moron. Al Bundy is in the house. I would only light up if you picked my Sooners to win. Well, Bruce Harris, you might be the happiest guy in the country. You might be the happiest guy in the country. All right, if I did not get to you, I apologize. But everybody who's come on in, I appreciate it. Nick, Virginia Tech, Holkey, John Dry, EDD, BMD, and everybody else. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I agree, Mr. Maynard. I do agree. Dave B. Am I in last place in the I Do Declare, Greg? I don't remember. Somebody's in last place. Because there's already been a couple of results that have already happened. Okay. First of all, before we get to... And now I did see a couple of comments here. Hold on. I did see a couple of comments that said... Greg, it's the latest video from Wild Ute. I did not see it. I did not see it. Greg, your best hope is the Twins. That's not much of a hope. That is not much of a hope. Hold on a second. Again, this thing doesn't... Finebaum doesn't speak for the SEC, correct? Paul Finebaum doesn't know, laughing out loud. Again, as I said, the chatter behind the curtain is everything that Paul Finebaum said on his show today. So, again, you do not have to, you can believe this is not happening. All I can say is more than Paul Finebaum saying it. Because Paul Finebaum said it out loud once again, I decided to move this storyline up, and pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about it. The Evil Badger. I do declare. Wow. Wow. Here we go. The evil one. The Badger. Evil Badger, I do declare that Posa or Catalano will have a 10, or I'm going to say 10 or more sack season. I'm not going to have you have, you don't have to have an 11 sack season, 10 or more. That is a 5-point that is a 5-point valuation. I'm going to give you a 5-point evaluation on that because that would be a monster season for a linebacker in college football. However, where the Evil Badger and I do agree, and we do not agree that much, Badgers do have incredible linebackers. Really, really good linebackers. So I do agree with Evil Badger on that. Thank you for the $5 holler, Evil Badger. We're going to book that in. That should be updated by tomorrow's live show. Thank you, sir. Again, the deadline on getting your I do declare predictions in for the college football season is at the end of the live show on August 14th. That is the deadline to get your I do declares in. Thank you, Evil Badger. I appreciate it so very much. We got Ricky Tungate. Ricky Tungate. Indiana just got better. Greg, what do you think about the two Indiana edge rushers coming back? Daly has had moments of brilliance. That is for sure. And my beloved Golden Gophers have to play you Hoosiers on October 31st. And once again, in camp, the Golden Gophers are having a difficult time with that right tackle position. Bennett Warren, the transfer we got from the Tennessee Volunteers, he's in his third year. He was a big, high 4-star, whatever, coming out of high school. He's not quite there. He's not quite winning the job. And the other guy, Ship, he's got a much lower ceiling. We might have to move our first team All-American left guard over to right tackle, Greg Johnson, to shore up the right side. Whatever. Look, that's not good news for the Gophers. If I'm going to be talking about it selfishly, which I am, it is not good news for my beloved Golden Gophers. It is great news for the Indiana Hoosiers. It is horrible news for the rest of the Big Ten and the rest of the country. Indiana has already gotten so much better in the last week. That's what I think about it, Ricky Tungate. That is what I think about it. Thank you for your $10 holler. Thank you, Mr. Tungate, for reigniting my nightmare that I will have later on tonight when I put my head on my cold pillow and start shedding tears, maroon and gold tears into my pillowcase. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it very much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go through this, and then we'll go to the SEC, will self-govern. So we've done it all here at Peek Around the Corner. Our off-season has been loaded with college football discussions. I am just going to go, I'm not even going to talk about, I'm just going to show you the screens of everything we've done. We've done the head coach hot seat rankings going into week 0. We've done the Heisman Watch rankings going into week 0. We did our way too early predictions of the ACC in spring. And then in August and early August, we put down our official ACC order of finish prediction. Miami Hurricanes. Then we did the SEC way too early in early spring. And then we did our official order of prediction, Texas, national champions. We did the Big 12 way too early order of finish prediction in the spring. And then we determine Texas Tech champions in our final prediction. Same thing with the Big Ten. Way too early predictions. And then our final predictions with the Buckeyes winning it all in the Big Ten. And then we gave the final CFP seedings. The rankings that we think is going to go heading into the playoffs. Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Miami, the Red Raiders, Oregon, LSU, Georgia, Indiana, USC, Ole Miss, and New Mexico Lobos. This is the bracket, and this is the final result. We've got the Buckeyes beating the Longhorns in the national championship. The only thing we have not done during the offseason, is our preseason top 25. Now I get it. College football should not have a preseason top 25. It corrupts the playoff committee. It corrupts the fans because it changes our perception of things. This should not be allowed. This should not be allowed. Well, we are the rebel outpost in college football. We are going to have a college football playoffs preseason top 25. And we're going to have it right now. Before I disclose PATC's preseason rankings going into week 0, I want to explain the basis of the top 25. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, emphasis on the that. It's a mixture of what the teams deserve, what they are projected to do, and of course what they've done. That's how my rankings are going to start. But what they've done is absolutely nothing except, what they've done in the offseason, but there's been no games played. What they've deserved, there is nothing deserved. So when we do our rankings during the season, it's not all of one thing. It's a mixture. It's more art than science. All right? This is how I would rank them. This is how I would rank them. This is what now it's not totally what they deserve, else I would have Indiana number 1 because they're the national champions. I do not have Indiana number 1. It's not totally what I think is, it's not going to be what I think is going to happen by the end of the season. I've already shown you what I think is going to happen by the end of the season. That's not what this is. But it's a little bit of what I think they deserved and how good I think they are right now. And some of this is going to be quite controversial because I have left a couple of teams out of the entire top 25 in which everybody has them in the top 25. So there's going to be a couple of fan bases that are not going to be very happy. There's going to be some fan bases that are going to be very pleased with what we've done. So buckle up, enjoy the ride. Let me know how wrong I got it. And here we go. MF 1968CB. I will get to your I do declare after I go through the PATC preseason rankings. I do appreciate it. MF 1968CB. So it's a little bit of this. It's a little bit of that. All right. Here we go. Number 25, Virginia Tech. Woo! I squeezed the Hokies in here. And there are big-time programs I completely left out. So, I don't think the Hokies are in many of the top 25. I don't think Virginia Tech is in many top 25s. I have questions about their quarterback. Franklin is one hell of a coach. And I think getting him as a head coach, getting that talent influx in from Penn State, I think the Hokies, I think they should be number 25. Do I think they're going to hold it? I don't think so. I would not have them in the top 25 at the end of the season. That would not be part of my prediction. I think I have them coming in 7th or 8th in the ACC. But at the beginning of the season, I give a lot of credence to Virginia Tech. Bracket Cat, what, Greg? No Missouri or Vandy or South Carolina or Kentucky or Tennessee? Missouri's got one returning starter. Vanderbilt is going to have a true freshman quarterback. South Carolina cannot block myself, Kenneth Maynard, Mama Duck, and Doc Boots. Kentucky, I think they're going to be well improved. I think Kenny Minchie, I think Kentucky's going to surprise a lot of people, but not the top 25. Tennessee, two quarterbacks that haven't faced one live bullet. Oh, I was being sarcastic. All right. Well, you're going to have to find out here. Illinois, again, I've got questions about Illinois. I do not think they're going to finish in the top 25, but a little bit of deserved, a little bit of, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Caton Hauser worries me. I'm not sure he's going to be a good enough quarterback for Illinois to finish in the top 6 of the Big Ten. I do not have Illinois finishing in the top 6 of the Big Ten. I have them sort of having a disappointing season when it's all said and done. But at the beginning of the season, the years that Illinois had, I think Illinois deserves that number 24 spot. Clemson. Now, there was a coach's poll, I think, had Clemson at 23. And I was a little surprised by it. But again, when I did my rankings, I couldn't really move them out. I have questions about the quarterback. I think at some point, I think Mr. Reynolds, the backup quarterback, is going to have his time to play, get ready for next year. But they've got talent. Sammy Brown, they've got talent. Wesco, they've got talent. We think Gideon Davidson is incredibly talented. Yeah, Clemson at 23, I'm okay with. And we'll find out when Clemson plays LSU at the beginning of the season. Penn State, I've been a little hard on Penn State. What do I have them ranked 6 in the Big Ten? And I think they're going to finish around 6 and maybe they finish a little bit worse than 22. I don't know. Iowa, no, come on. The way that Iowa finished last season, they still got 2 true All-American offensive linemen and the defense. Iowa's got to be a top 25 team. I do think they're going to be a little disappointing, though, by the end of the season. But again, I got to have, I think they deserve that 21st spot. 16 through 20. Houston. Yeah, I mean, Houston could be in the Big 12 championship game. What they did last year, they've got a lot of key guys coming back. Their defense was good last year. It's going to be good this year. Connie Wigman, Amari Thomas. Louisville, 19. Now, Louisville wasn't even in the top 25 in the coaches poll. I don't know if they're in the top 25 of On3 preseason poll. I don't remember. Maybe they are. They've won 9 games the last 3 seasons. They've got an incredible backfield. I think Louisville is going to be on the bubble to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be on the bubble. I think Michigan is going to be on the bubble. I think BYU is going to be on the bubble. Houston could be on the bubble. Louisville 19 is where I got them now, but if I had to predict by the end of the season, I think I would have them ranked a little higher than 19. Washington 18. I think they're going to be a little disappointing. But at the beginning of the season, I think 18 is the right spot. I do think there's going to be some disappointing SEC teams this year. Like really disappointing. Shockingly disappointing. I think Alabama is one of those couple of SEC teams that are going to be disappointing. If I had to do it all over again, I would not have Alabama at 6. I would predict them to finish even lower in the SEC. I have come to realize, I've been reading the reports, listening to the college football YouTube channels, there has not been a solution made on Alabama's historically poor running game. And with Keelan Russell and Austin Mack, first-year starting quarterback, look, guys and gals, I got Alabama 17 here, but I think they're heading into a very disappointing season. It would not shock me if they're not rated in the top 25 by the end of the season. And there's going to be another SEC team that I don't think is going to be ranked in the top 25 by the end of the season that everybody else would have in the top 25. No, I don't have Tennessee, Missouri, and all those other teams either. Utah, number 16. Yeah. I really liked Utah last year. I like Utah this year. I think they're going to be really good. Again, they're going to have to replace their top offensive lineman. Quarterback's coming back. Wayshawn Paka is coming back. The wide receiver room is improved. They got they're going to have a good defense. Changes on the coaching staff. Changes with the head coach. Utah is sitting there on the edge, on the knife's edge. A playoff contender. We start them off at number 16. 11 through 15. Kenneth Maynard, where is SMU, Greg? Where is SMU? SMU is number 15. Now, I am a little worried about Mr. Jennings' finger. Remember that he injured his finger. So I am a little nervous. I am a little nervous. But SMU is loaded. So, SMU is going to be... Look, I've got Louisville going to the ACC championship game. But right now, at the beginning of the season, I am going to put SMU just a touch ahead of Louisville because they've got Jennings and Louisville's got Kleinholz. And again, Kleinholz is not a guy who's faced real live bullets in a game. So I'm going to put SMU just a nod ahead. And I hope you all understand. But I think Louisville is going to finish just a nose ahead of SMU. Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to apologize. I have to take time to apologize right now. Do we have any Michigan Wolverines in the chat? I do not see any Michigan Wolverines in the chat. I'm going through the list. I don't see any. They're probably too upset with me to watch the program. Grateful Trojan says Michigan falls out of the top 25 this year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is example number one of why I am not Greg the Cooler anymore. I am Greg the Gold. I am Greg the Gold. Jay James is in the house. Okay, good. Okay, Jay James. I apologize to Jay James and the rest of the Wolverines. I have looked, again, I got a sense of curiosity. I keep looking at it. I keep looking at it. I made my predictions. I do not have Michigan making the playoffs. I got them finishing in 5th place in the Big Ten. I do. But I've come to realize that Michigan is going to be really, really good. Like, I am not a believer. I'm not a believer in Bryce Underwood and beyond. Greg is bitter that Pate had Underwood better than Lindsey. Yes, I am. MBM, you're absolutely correct. And that is why I'm going to show you my maturity now, MBM. Josh Pate had Bryce Underwood at number 5 in his Big Ten quarterback rankings, and he did not have Drake Lindsey in the top 10. That is a criminal offense. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely... However, MBM, I think Michigan is going to be one really good damn football team this year. I think I've taken them way too lightly. I believe I screwed up in the off season. I have. I was wrong. Amazing Blue, I was wrong. I'm glad that you're in the chat. JJ, I was wrong. I fall at the feet of the PATC Einsteins, and I just want all of you to give me one more chance to prove that I'm Greg the Gold this year. Michigan. Let me give you an example here. So I've been having my doubts on Michigan. Did I get Michigan right during the off season? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think so. I don't think so. And then I've looked at that Michigan and Oklahoma game. I have looked at that Michigan and Oklahoma game. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Harris, I'm sorry, but you're going to be happy because you think I'm Greg the Cooler. I think Michigan is going to blow the doors off of Oklahoma. I keep looking at that game. We'll talk more about that game when we get to it. But I think Michigan is going to shatter Oklahoma. Ryan Brooks, so much for being Greg the Cole. I'm not a... I don't want... I don't want to give too much... I think Michigan is going to shatter. Going to go to Norman and shatter Oklahoma. Troy, with a name like Greg the Cooler, he has to be right. Bruce Harris. So, let's continue. Let's continue on here. But I happen to think that I got Michigan wrong in the offseason. Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, Mario Craver. Boy, I do not know. I do not have Texas A&M making the playoffs. I have them as the bubble. I think 13 is the right spot. Although maybe I should have had Michigan and SMU ahead of them. I think 13 is the right spot. USC. You all know what I think about USC. Now, I'm not going to have them ranked higher than 12. Grateful Trojan, I could not have them in the top 10 because, again, a certain percentage of this, a high percentage of this, is what do they deserve? What do I think is going to happen in the future and a little bit from now? USC number 12. I think that's the right spot. They're playing at the Big House. Okay, that's probably why I got Michigan ripping on them. Is that Ann Arbor? Okay. Okay, that's even worse, to be honest with you, for Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma, I'm going to show you how bad I think it's going to be for Oklahoma. Okay? On the next screen, I'm going to show you how bad I think it's going to be for Oklahoma. Yep, Kenneth Manor, USC's got a lot to prove. No question about it. But I think they're gonna be a playoff team. I've got them in the playoffs, squeezing in. I think number 10, right? And Ole Miss at number 11. But at the beginning, I'm going to have them a little bit outside the top 10. Same thing with LSU. I think I've got them, a 7th seed in the playoffs. I'm going to start them a little bit outside the top 10. But I think LSU is going to show their wear. I think they're going to show their value when they beat Clemson. LSU at number 11. Top 10. There is no Oklahoma. Bruce Harris, there is no Oklahoma. Greg the Gold, there is no Oklahoma. That clunky offense, they had the best defense last year. Bruce Harris, Sooner Nation, Greg the Cold. Bruce Harris. Oklahoma. In Alabama. Those two fan bases are going to have a reckoning this year. A reckoning. BYU number 10. Great, great, great. You've got BYU too high. No way. Come on. If anybody else played the way that BYU did last year, okay, they didn't quite make the playoffs. Very good team. They're bringing back their quarterback. They're bringing back their running back. They're bringing back, come on. BYU Cougars, number 10. They deserve a top 10. They deserve it. Texas Tech, they deserve it. Kenneth Manor, BYU, and Texas Tech are too high. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not a Big 12 homer, but I think these two programs, these football teams are good. And again, I have Utah at number 16. Houston at number 12. I think the Red Raiders and BYU are not getting enough. Yeah, Ryan Brooks is BYU top 10 and missing the playoffs. Yep. Because they're going to lose to Notre Dame, they're going to lose to Texas Tech in the championship, and they're just going to miss out on that last at-large bid to probably 9-3 or 10-2 Ole Miss. BYU just misses out. But at the beginning of the season, they're going to deserve that number 10 spot. Red Raiders, number 9. They would be higher if they had Brendan Sorsby, but no. But I'm not going to put them at 12, 13, 15. The Red Raiders, that backfield, that defense, that tight end, come on. Ole Miss. I don't know. Like Kenneth Manor says Ole Miss is too high. A lot of people agree with Kenneth Manor. I look at Trinidad Chambliss and K'Wan Lacey. I look at some improvement they did on defense. Remember that linebacker they got that went from California to Clemson to Ole Miss, Farrelly? Look, I have looked at this Ole Miss is going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. A lot of people don't have them in there. I'm wondering if more SEC fans have Oklahoma making the playoffs than Ole Miss. I'm wondering if more SEC fans have Alabama making the playoffs than Ole Miss. And I'm looking at Ole Miss. I get it. Their defense was nothing like Oklahoma. But come on. That offense. Georgia at number 7. I think that's the right spot. I think that is what they deserve. Number 7. And I think that's basically where they're going to finish. 6 is Oregon. Maybe I should have had Oregon in the top 5. But again, it's a little bit on the deserving side. I don't think they should get to the top 5 right now. But man, they are a national championship contender. So the top 5, Notre Dame, Texas, Indiana, Miami, and Ohio State. Notre Dame, I've only got one question about Notre Dame. And that is they lost that backfield, that incredible backfield, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. And then Aeneas Williams, is he at that same level? They're gonna have a schedule in which Notre Dame is gonna finish in the top 4. Notre Dame is gonna get a playoff bye. They're gonna get a bye in the playoffs. But at the start of the season, I cannot put them ahead of Texas. I can't put them ahead of Indiana. I can't put ahead of Miami and the Buckeyes. At the end of the season, I got Notre Dame at number 3. And of course, a national championship contender. Texas, I got them in the championship game. But I'm going to have them at number 4 because the deserving factor. They don't quite deserve it in the way that Indiana, Miami, and the Buckeyes deserve it. But the Longhorns can win it all. They are absolutely stacked. Indiana at number 3. They deserve to be number 1 if this was only about deserve. But again, it's not quite all that. They don't have their starting quarterback, Josh Hoover, and I don't put Josh Hoover in the same level as Darian Mensah. But Indiana is loaded. Indiana is a national contender. Miami, I think they deserve 1 or 2. I think the Buckeyes deserve 1 or 2. The only reason I got the Buckeyes ahead of Miami is because their starting quarterback is returning. And he had one hell of a season last year. And they've got Jeremiah Smith. And the Buckeyes edge out Miami for the preseason number 1 top 25 PATC. So let me know with your comments, super chats, and your phone calls. Let me know how wrong I got it. But that is the college football's peek around the corner preseason top 25. So we'll have our own top 25 rankings throughout the season. This is where we begin. This is not where we end up. This is where we begin. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, chopping it up, talking college football. MF 1968CB, we've got an I do declare. I do declare Oregon wins the college football national championship. Okay, I'm going to book that. It's going to be a 1-pointer or a 2-pointer. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the I do declares because the predictions, because I think somebody else also predicted this. So, and I want to have it to be the same point. It's 1 or it's 2. I can't remember which one I gave it. I can't remember which way I went with it. So, but I will book it. Thank you, MF1968CB. Thank you for being a part of the I Do Declare College Football World Championship. This is not a mid title. This is the top world title. I Do Declare World Championship. Thank you, MF1968CB. And we've got George Perrette. Member, 6 months. Holy smokes. 6 months. George, you are officially knighted. Cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. Michigan-Oklahoma game is at Michigan. Thank you very much. I think I knew that when I was doing my deep dive, but then I had one of my Golden Gopher strokes here live in front of the camera. I've given it away. One of my picks, I'm going to have Michigan covering the spread. What is the spread currently? Like 1.5, 1? What is the spread of Michigan, Oklahoma? Hold on. Of course, I can't find it. Does anybody got the spread of Oklahoma, Michigan? There it is. Michigan minus 1.5. All right. Now, I don't know who Oklahoma plays on September 5th. I do know that Michigan plays Western Michigan. And I think Western Michigan is going to cover the spread against Michigan. But I think Michigan is going to blow the doors off of Oklahoma. So that's how I'm giving you guys a freebies. Greg the Gold is giving you guys a couple of freebies out there just to give you a little bit of a help to try to keep up with my incredible high winning percentage against the spread this year in 2026. Thank you, George. I appreciate it. Appreciate the heads up. Bruce Harris, $2 holler. Bruce Harris is feeling mighty good right now. Mighty good. Sooner Nation loves Greg the Cold. Okay. All right. I'm pretty popular in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm going to be even more popular when Norman, Oklahoma finds out that I don't even have Oklahoma in the top 25. I don't have Tennessee. I don't have Missouri. I do love LSU. I do love Ole Miss. I do love Texas. I think the top of the SEC is going to be way better than last year. And I think Oklahoma and Alabama that just got into the playoffs last year, good teams, deserved it, whatever. I don't know about Alabama, but they got in. I think they're going to both tumble this year. But, of course, Norman, Oklahoma believes that Greg the Cold still exists, and that's just not the case. That is just not the case. Bruce Harris, thank you for the $2 holler, and thank you for taking it in the spirit that you are. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Ryan Brooks, Mr. LSU Tiger, who's not afraid that I'm Greg the Cooler this year, as I've got LSU rolling. Ryan Brooks, I do declare it. SEC will be a much better in the playoffs, including national championship game appearance, but it won't matter when Oregon is fourth in the Big Ten to win 4 years. SEC nightmare. What the heck is... Who got into Ryan Brooks's YouTube account? What is going on? Okay, for now, we are going to pretend like that is the real purple and gold Ryan Brooks who put that comment out there. I can't really put an I do declare in. I can't book it because I need some statistical numbers. I can't have an open-ended comment like that. It's got to be, there's got to be something more to it where I can, be subjective about it, but or objective about it, whatever the word is. I'm a little shocked what Ryan Brooks said here. Oregon is going to win. It's going to be the fourth different Big Ten to win the national championship. SEC nightmare. Ryan Brooks. Wow. I am absolutely stunned. But that could happen. I mean, Ryan Brooks is probably there's a lot of people that agree with Ryan Brooks that Oregon is going to be the team that wins it all this year. They're absolutely loaded. If it wasn't for the Buckeyes, maybe Ryan Brooks is absolutely correct. Maybe Ryan Brooks is just showing his wisdom, unlike myself. Thank you, Ryan Brooks. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate it very much. Donnie McNerney, $20 holler, Buckeyes. Greg, you are Greg the Gold. Go Buckeyes. Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate it. Again, I've said this before. Donnie is not afraid. He is not afraid. He knows that Greg the Cold is not showing up. Greg the Cold is gone. The Buckeyes are going to win the Big Ten championship. The Buckeyes are going to win the whole thing. And I got them number one. But Donnie, I think they lose to Texas. I think it's going to be a great football game. But Texas is going to be ready. Texas is going to be ready, and they're going to nip you. They're going to get you. And the Buckeyes might lose another game because they got a tough schedule. But they're going to get to the Big Ten championship game with an 8-1 record or a 9-0 record. They're going to win the Big Ten championship, and they're going to win it all. But the Buckeyes are going to lose to the mighty Longhorns. I've got all the respect in the world for that Longhorn team. I think the Buckeyes got early. So maybe Donnie doesn't think I'm Greg the Gold anymore. Thank you for the $20 holler. Thank you for the massive, massive super chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate your incredible generosity, Donnie. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. We've got Helmer Hennison, $2 holla. USA Today had Michigan as the number one toughest schedule. Well, Ohio State's got to be way up there. And I'm guessing that maybe Michigan's schedule is more difficult than the Buckeyes because the Buckeyes are playing Michigan while Michigan are playing the Buckeyes. In other words, the Buckeyes on Michigan is going to get credited with playing a tougher schedule because the Buckeyes are rated higher than Michigan. Because and Michigan's playing Oklahoma and the Buckeyes are playing the Longhorns. The Buckeyes are going to be right up there with Michigan on the USA Today ranking. Thank you, Hammer Hennison. Thank you for the $2 holler. Look, I'm okay even today with not having Michigan make the playoffs. But I think Michigan is going to be a mighty, mighty, mighty fifth place team in the Big Ten. And I think they show that early against Oklahoma. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Kenneth Maynor, I agree with Kenneth Maynor. Florida will be ranked by week 3 heading into a game versus also newly ranked Auburn. These two rivals haven't played since 2019. Huge game. Now, Kenneth Maynard, again, I was battling. Should I put Florida at number 25? Because I think that's where the coaches poll had Florida, right? No, they had Missouri at... Where did the coaches poll had Florida? I think they had Missouri at 25. One of them had Florida at 25. Boy, let me put it to you this way. I think Florida has a better chance of finishing in the top 25, 24 than Illinois or Virginia Tech. But I couldn't quite put them there. I do have Florida at number 6. And if you noticed, I kept moving Florida up, Kenneth Maynard, from the whole off season. I moved them all the way up to 6. I dropped Alabama to 7, Oklahoma to 8. I love Texas. I love LSU. I think Texas could win the whole thing. I think LSU is going to surprise people about how powerful they are. Georgia's going to be Georgia. Hopefully Georgia's going to be really good. Ole Miss, I think, is going to make it to the playoffs. Texas A&M, I go back and forth on. And I think Florida is the emerging power in the SEC. And I think they're going to be really good this year. And then I think it's going to drop off to Alabama, Oklahoma. We got to check out Tennessee's quarterback. So, yeah, I'm not a believer in Alabama and Oklahoma this year. I believe more in Florida. Am I like Greg the Ice Age? Am I turning into Greg the Cold to Greg the historic Ice Age? Or am I Greg the Gold? Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you for the $5 holler. We've got Thomas Coker. Super chat. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Thomas Coker. Chris Jones, linebacker, is going to be a Jared Verse type problem. He's made Usman Croma, the running back, fling off his helmet and check his teeth. Florida State still has dudes on defense. And I like your defensive coordinator. I really like your defensive coordinator, Tony White. I really like Chris Jones. I've watched tape of Chris Jones. When we did a spotlight on the Florida State Seminoles, Chris Jones was a machine at Southern Mississippi. A brilliant transfer portal pickup. So, I don't see him as he might be dominating like a Jared Verse. Maybe he is a Jared Verse. Maybe he is. I'll take that. $5 holler. Thank you, Mr. Coker. I appreciate it. Again, let's chop this up for a moment. We do have to get to our big story of the SEC with self-govern. We're going to talk a little bit what Paul Finebaum said today. And we are under a time limit here on our Wednesday shows. Our Wednesday shows are the shortest live shows of the week because of scheduling issues. But I do want to say, is Alabama going to be able to run the ball against the Seminoles? Is Alabama going to be able to run the ball against the Seminoles? Can Alabama run the ball against Coker, Kenneth Maynor, Hemmer Hennison, and Donnie McNerney? So that game is going to be decided on Ashton Daniels and Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. The Seminoles might get them again. The Seminoles might get Roll Tide, might nip them again. Maybe not in the dominating fashion of last year. You know, we always say we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot in week one. We're going to learn a lot in this game. We're going to learn a lot in that game. We are going to learn a lot in this game. First of all, we're going to learn who Alabama's going to start. Their future, Keelan Russell, is their future now, or are they going to put the guy in who has been so loyal to Kalen DeBoer from Washington to Tuscaloosa? Who are they going to start? And can they get a running game going at all? Can they get any receiver open besides Coleman Williams? Thank you, Coker. Appreciate the $5 holler. Kenneth Maynor, we got a $2 holler. Ooh, we got an I do declare. I do declare that Miami will defeat Texas for the title. Pirate, Gator, Maynor, Kenneth Maynor. I'm going to put that in. That will be booked. And I'm going to give you a valuation of 4 points. And anytime somebody predicts the two teams that are going to be in the championship game and one is going to defeat the other, that's almost an automatic 5-pointer. If you get it right, you deserve all 5 points. But because Miami and Texas are like two of the top 5 favorites, we're going to make it a 4-point valuation. But still a big one, and one that could definitely, most definitely happen. Very intriguing. I do declare. I love this one. Thank you, Pirate Gator Maynor. I appreciate it very much. $2 holler. All right, we got another I do declare in the books. Okay, let's get to Bama loses the ECU, then destroys Florida State. Got it. Let me take a few looks at the comments here. Rod Nix is in the house. Greg the Cold. It is wishful thinking that Greg has no snow on Silo Mountain because the cold is gone. It is gone, Ryan Brooks. It is gone. LSU is going to have a very, very good season under Lane Kiffin in year one. Book it. Book it, Mr. Brooks. Book it. All right. Okay. SEC will self-govern. We talked about the chatter behind the curtain at the beginning of the show. I want to quickly go to what Paul Finebaum said today. He was on 680 The Fan, 93.7 FM. He was asked some questions. He was asked about the college football playoffs. What does he think is going to be the future of the college football playoffs? Paul Finebaum said, we're not staying at 12. He thinks it is likely we go to 16 and then to 24. Go to 16 with a guarantee to go to 24. He thinks the money's going to be there. With everybody, with all these media companies relying more and more and more on live sport contests to get the ad money, to come on in, to get the ratings. They're all thirsting for more content. And that's the world that we live in. Paul Finebaum, he doesn't want to play off at 24, but he believes we are going to get there. We are going to get there. Paul Finebaum. He thinks we start at 16 with a guarantee to go to 24. Paul Finebaum. On the 20-team playoffs, he believes it was a trial balloon leaked and it got shot down. It's not happening. So he believes we go to 16 and then to 24 soon after. Protect the College Sports Act. He says it's not going to happen. Not going to pass. So, where do we go if it's not going to pass? Paul Finebaum said we're going to go with what Jerry Mohr had said, the University of Georgia president. Paul Finebaum said the SEC will self-govern. Now, he said he doesn't know what it's going to necessarily look like. Paul Finebaum also said that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Greg Sankey can still get away. He can still say they haven't had any formal talks, but Paul Finebaum says he knows that they've had discussions. In other words, it's a game of semantics. They've had lots of discussions around what that would look like. And the SEC is not going to have really a choice. That's the thing. They're not going to be able to wait around anymore. The NCAA as a credible force in the courts is done. It's gone. So, Paul Finebaum believes there are plans in place, even though there hasn't been quote unquote formal talks. There's been a lot of informal discussions. In other words, it's not going to take too long a time to flip the switch when they decide to do this. And then he believes, Paul Finebaum believes, when it is known how the SEC is going to structure their self-governance, and I'm paraphrasing again, when it is known what the rules are, that everybody else is going to follow along. No other conference is going to be out on an island. Everyone's going to follow along. So I think what Paul Finebaum is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is even though the SEC will go in their silo and have self-governance, it ain't going to be like the complete breakaway where we're not playing each other. For now. Paul Finebaum also said the two following items. Number one, you go listen to the interview yourself. It's on 680 The Fan, 93.7 FM. Paul Finebaum, though, even though he says the SEC is going to self-govern, it's going to be like they're going to choose what to govern. They're going to choose what not to govern. It's not going to work totally. He says, that's just how it's going to be. They're going to try to govern. They're probably going to be successful at some things, but it's not going to be like a true governance like the NFL. that the presidents would decide what to govern and what not to govern. And he also said that at some point down the road, when he was asked about a 40 to 50 team sort of breakaway, Paul Finebaum thought that was probably going to happen. He did not go into details about that. So, and I think what and he said this in the past, he think it's going to be done by conferences, Big Ten and SEC. So that is what he said. He believes the SEC will self-govern. And as we said at the beginning of the program, the chatter behind the curtain, and we were going to go with this story, but it wasn't going to be our biggest story until Paul Finebaum said what he had to say. The chatter behind the curtain is we are going to hear more about this in the next month. That this is not going to be, it's going to be leaked. Someone's going to talk. Somebody in leadership of the SEC is going to come out there and say, if we don't get this way, that way, this way, that way with the PCSA, we're going to go this way, that way, this way, that way with a self-governance model. The Southeastern Conference is not going to stay silent. They're going to say something here in the next month. That's the chatter behind the curtain. That is what is being told to people who report in this industry in college football. How exactly that's going to come out and what is exactly is going to be said and how this is going to be self-governed, what are the details, I do not know. That door has not been open to PATC. So that is the monologue. We're going to get to your phone calls. We don't have time for much on the phone calls. I do want to apologize. We have a shortened live show today. Shortened live show on Wednesdays. I do apologize on that. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger, they keep saying this. John Famlor, how is the SEC going to do a better job of deciding whether Trinidad Chambliss should have been eligible for Ole Miss this season? I think in the SEC, now this is a guess on my part, but I think going forward, they're going to have the 5 year to play 5. So Chambliss would not have been able to play. No exceptions. No JUCO, no Division II, no other exceptions except for religious service, army service, and for the ladies if you're pregnant. But 5 years to play 5 years. So I think Trinidad Chambliss would not have been eligible this year. And I think the rules are going to be clear. I listened to SEC Mike, his podcast, and they were talking about how the chatter is SEC going their own way, self-governance. And SEC Mike with cousin Shane, they both agreed you're not going to have an SEC school sue the SEC conference if they make a ruling against you. It ain't going to happen in the Southeastern Conference. That is their opinion. So we'll have to find out together. It looks like we're going to find out together. Okay. I do want to thank those who have donated our program. I appreciate it very much. Christopher Hooter, Eva Badger, Ricky Tungate, MF 1968, George Parrott, Bruce Harris, Ryan Brooks, Donnie McNerney, Hammer Hennison, Kenneth Maynard, Thomas Coker, and Kenneth Maynard. I appreciate you guys so very much. Your incredible generosity helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Very much appreciate it. We might have time for one phone call if it comes in real quick. Okay, I guess not. All right, no problem. No problem. We will continue our college football discussions tomorrow. And tomorrow is August 13th, Thursday. And that is going to be a beautiful day to talk college football. So keep your head on a swivel. Before you leave, please smash the like button if you've liked our content. It helps us with the algorithm of YouTube so very much. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell because you don't know when we're coming on live next. If there is major breaking news later tonight, we'll be coming on live. So you got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to subscribe to our channel and smash that smash the like button if you've liked our content. If not, don't smash it. And let me know in the comment section what we can better do to serve you as a college football sicko. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. And as always, God, family, Golden Gopher.